Okay, I'm getting ready to take a big trip out west. I live in Kentucky, so we're heading all the way out as far as the Grand Canyon and back. I'll do about a 17-day trip. So I decided I needed to put a camera back here in the back. Basically, it's a rear view backup camera, but it's going to be set to where it runs all the time. So I'm going to have to be a little creative about how I hook up the power. The unit I got, I'll put a post below and show what I got from Amazon, but it's this unit right here. I believe it was around $140, $49. They have them as cheap as $89. I just like the reviews on this one. Here's some of the stuff that's in here. This one has a hookup for on the license plate, and you could have several different ideas of on the side of the license plate or different things. Suction cup for the windshield and a small LED, which I'll show you that later. We're gonna trudge through this ourselves and we'll see how it works out. Plan is to put it over here. Like I say, we're gonna put it on the license plate top there. Try to run through these same holes. It may have be blocked a little bit by the tire, but I think I'll get enough view that it should be fine. So we'll get back with you and see how it works out. So on the inside, we're going to hook up. I want us on the power all the time, but I'm going to have a switch. You can see the switch I have here, and the 3 prongs, and it has an LED. That way you know it's on and off. That way I can come in here when I take off, switch that on, and it'll work all the time, even when I'm driving down the road. When I get to my next location, the light will let me know that I need to turn that off so I don't run my battery down. So in order to do that, I want to hook into, I don't know, I got a Scout light and a cigarette lighter adapter over, and it's kind of buried right now, but it's over on the side of the cabinet here. So I had to look inside and see where our wires came down. I got my refrigerator, so it was kind of difficult to get to. So anyway, looking inside, you can see that over there, and that center wire is your plus, and then your outer wire is your ground, and that comes out back over here on this side. I'm going to have to identify, I haven't quite identified them yet, but identify the wires coming out here. So I'm going to identify those 2 wires. That's where I'm going to tie in for my power. Now it's going to get a little more complicated coming out to my switch, because my switch is actually going to be mounted on the front of this cabinet here. So I'll get a little more into that detail on that here in a little bit, but that's just where I'm heading right now. So I'll be back with you shortly. So I'm putting this on the outside of my license plate, and you can see down here I got it hooked up here, and I'm ordered a new piece for this lens because I lost it. So I had a new piece anyway, so I'm running the wire in through the same holes. I'm trying not to drill any more holes than I need to. This came with a actual 3M tape. You can see there, I pulled it off the back. That sticks to the back of this license plate. And then I made a notch in the bottom of this lens that should fit around that. Okay. Have that on there, installed. What I did do on the back side is put this screw in here, and I put a little piece of wood decking on there. That's actually a plastic piece of wood decking, and that's to keep this from flopping around on the wind. Put a little bit of tension on that. Otherwise I was worried that this was going to flop around and make a mess. So we'll see how that works out. It worked out pretty good up inside. You can see put a little notch in this reflector. Goes up through there. Should keep everything sealed. Now we need to go inside and get all that mess in there cleaned up and worked on, wires hooked in. Okay, you see that switch right there next to the plug. I've now got it teed off. Got 3 wires coming through inside here where the bed normally sits, and 3 wires come through here. Got 3 wires. I have a ground, a load, and a power. Ground I made white. And what I'm going to do now is I found inside here on the control box, I've got this one here is my actual power, and then I've got a big white common, this is the ground they have. So I'm going to tie the ground into here, the power into here, that's my switch. And then from the other side I have this coming in from the camera. Actually it's 2 wires here. One of those is going to go to the switch on the load side, and the other one's going to go to the ground, which is the one down here again. And at the end of this video I have a rough drawn out wiring diagram, but I'll actually draw out a better diagram and post it at the end of this video. And if you're wondering where I'm at, I'm pretzeled in here into this little hole right here. So maybe not everybody can get in a little hole like this, but it's a little tough. Okay, everything worked out pretty good. I've got this hooked up here. Like I say, I showed you, I'll show you a wiring diagram how I worked it out. That's the cargo area. And like I said, there's my light. LED tells you when it's on. And that way you know to turn it off so it won't run your battery down once you get positioned where you're camping. And I'll go in the car and show you what it looks like. Okay, in the car, don't pay attention to the alarm beeping. I can shut the door and get that shut up. Like I say, this just plugs into your normal thing there, and I'm going to go ahead and split that up because I use the Nuvi while I'm driving on trips too, so I'll put a doubler on that. Comes on up, and there's my mount, and I'm seeing out the back of that right now. Now when I first turned it on, the way I positioned the camera, it was actually upside down, but there's a setting in there where you just go in and you can flip the camera up just by hitting a button, so it just flipped the camera around. I'm actually not hooked to the trailer. The trailer's way back outside, and I'm actually in the garage. And if you look there, you'll see I'm getting a real good signal. Shows the signal there on the right top. So it looks like it's going to be good. So we'll have to try this out on the road. We're going to go on a big trip out west, and we'll see how it works out. Again, I'm just showing you what I did on the back. There's that camera. And actually, surprisingly, you can't even see the tire when it looks out the back. It has a wide angle, but it misses the tire. You can see I put a piece back behind here, like I said before, just to keep that from bouncing around. That's my big concern right now, is this thing bouncing around. And then, like I say, this is the view you were seeing out of that camera, right out through the back there. So there's adjustments on this actual thing that you can adjust, and I'll just have to see how that works. I'll just tighten it down for now, and then we'll go from there. Okay, this is how I did my configuration for the hooking up the camera. I used the plug that was in the already in the A-liner here, and I found these 2 wires, which was the white and the black wires. I ended up splicing in my switch, which has 3 prongs on it, with the power from that power on this side. It's that center one is the power one. And then it has a load. The load goes over is that red that comes from the camera. The black goes to the ground, and then I use that same ground that goes up to the switch. So a little bit complicated, but if you look at this diagram, I had to look at it several times to make sure I got it right. So, and like I say, I used those whips that came off the power converter box that was in the RV instead of trying to hook it straight to the battery. So that made it a little easier. I didn't have to splice anything. I just took the wire nuts off and spliced it in that way. So even though I show splices on here, I actually used the splices they already had in the camper. So if you have any questions, leave comments on this video, and I'll try to explain it to you best I can. But Actually, it was a little frustrating at first just getting everything started, but once I got going, it was pretty easy to do. And I think it's going to work out real well for me. So